And good morning. Good morning and happy Monday. Just getting set up. Got some Rust Analyzer compiling. New week, new release to Rust Analyzer. Oh, yeah. It's always the best way to start a stream. Morning, Museum. How are you doing? I just got done with some goat hoof trimming. We don't have enough rocks around here for them to wear down on their own, so we've gotta help them out with it. Oh, you're working on a better read chat on the day off. Oh, nice. Smart splitting? Rewriting the whole UI. Oh, wow. Let's see. Let's pop over here. There we go. It didn't want to do an update. Oh, there it goes. Must have been having a little Starlink moment. Are you rewriting? You're still using like a TUI on that? Oh, Links View. Oh, cool. Oh, that's nice. Doing it by hand. Oh, cursive. Trying a cursive. I like cursive. You know, more so than print. Sorry, it's. I just spent some time with the goats, and like it's. Oh, it's a bit hard to read at times. Yeah. Okay, those are good to go. She's like, why won't I just click? There it goes. Hmm. No, interesting. Option, owning handle, owning ref. So, wow. Yeah, you're right. This could have been wrapped up in something else. Wow. So, gotten a couple things working. So we've got our little router that we built up here. As you explore it more, it's pretty neat. Nice. Oh, very cool. Is it, how would you compare to be able to work using a trait for the request type? I don't remember enough about it. I remember you kind of register. Listen, you don't even you just tell it to draw your thing, right? And it's yeah. But we got these working. So in this case, we can have a CF request, which is a Cloudflare request, and the router knows how to pass that through. Miguel America, good morning. How are you? And then if we open up the test in here, we're using HTTP request and response. Oh, I see. Very immediate mode. Some running on the GPU makes sense. Yeah. DirectX immediate mode. That was like forever ago. I remember doing that. Cool. All the tests pass. Now, I was going to try to spend a little bit of time figuring out Cloudflare workers. So we've got this running, just bare bones. Right here we can return not found. Here admin users. Let's actually return something else. If we look at the workers, it should be sub 2 milliseconds. Yeah, 0.8. Kind of what we're expecting. It's easier to view the demo this way. Oh, neat. Huh. What were those proc macros the other day? Yeah, we're creating a router. Um, actually, I set that. Oops. There we go. I forgot to hit enter. There we go. Yeah, I see these two here with these two. It splits them up and combines them into a single entry. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool. Oh, the screen's black? Want to kick the screen a little bit? No. It seems like it's okay. We had a little Starling bubble there, way up there. Oh, you can kind of see that. I wonder if that messed things up. Yep, Starlink breaking the twitches. That's pretty cool. What do you use for detecting URLs? URL crate? Okay. I was trying to use URL in this, but ended up just going really basic for parsing out the path part of the URL. 'Cause I'm trying to keep this small on Cloudflare because I think it actually runs a little faster. And and they're doing a lot more than this. They're doing a lot more than this. Mm. Yeah, if let's see, we did have a little blip up there in the top right just as you joined. I wonder if all the people coming in just yeah, just glitched for a second, but it's yeah. Sorry. I normally run another little program on top of this in order to keep a couple of little drops from happening. And it adds like a 3 second delay, but I didn't do that today. Oh, and thank you for the follow, Hungry Spirits. And what is this, Area 96? Thank you for the follow. So we're looking at Cloudflare workers. We're trying to set up basically a what do you call it? Like a um, WordPress, like a serverless WordPress, right? Custom link. Thank you for the follow. Good morning and happy Monday. So what we have so far, I'm surprised the encoder is okay with all that. That's so funny. Zionic 9. Thank you for the follow. So we've got a couple little things. It took inspiration from um, what is this? From Rocket, the Rocket RS crate. It's kind of like used for building servers, like web servers and stuff like that. So crates.io. It's not Rocket based. I liked the way that it looked, and we ended up making something similar. So we looked at Rocket, looked at their macros, kind of got an idea of what they were doing. Ended up stripping it down a lot because we're trying to get some WASM to run in Cloudflare. So it's very, very inspired by Cloudflare's, excuse me, by Rocket. But in this case, um, it is, it doesn't care what kind of request you have as long as it implements a trait. It doesn't care about your response type because it's just a wrapper around your function. Excuse me. Being out with the goats this morning, we trimmed some hooves. It's got me a little off. But yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Custom Blink. Isn't Raimu working making a URL crate? I don't know. I'm not sure. So essentially, we have a router that returns a closure, and then you call the router, passing in your request. If it matches something, you get some, right? A some okay or error. If it matches nothing, then you just handle it. It's basically the reference implementation for the Watch Working Group spec. Wow. I did try to use the URL crate. It introduced a bit of a delay. So when we took a request, a Cloudflare request, grabbed the URL out of it, parsed it, and basically returned it. We had to, it bloated the binary by 300K or so, or the WASM code inflated quite a bit. And we're trying to keep that down. So we pulled that back out and just did some cheapo parsing here. CSMFPA thing, it is a bit. So it's going to be much, much inspired by like, I don't know if you, forever ago, I did stuff with Communique. And this is going back a long, long way. Let's say, okay, say software, CRM, content repository, not customer relationship management. I don't see any pictures for this, but there used to be some, and there was some neat stuff. They got bought by Adobe, so. But this is our little router. It doesn't do everything yet, right? We can match gets, so we got the prototype kind of working. The router is very, very thin. If if you do match something else, and this could work. So let's say we had user ID like this. This could work. Or here. I'm just going to grab this and change the body. I don't like this song. All right. But we also have to take another argument. And this will always be a stir because our router doesn't convert these. It's doing as little work as it can. Toss user ID in there. No. Expected stir found struct string. Is that for the encode? Oh, gotta. There we go. No. It must be for TE encode. We look at Cloudflare's uh, encode here. No. Huh. Yeah, it does want to start. So we have to save that to a local or just do one of these. Morning, C. Kane. Mousix, I don't think I said hello. Good morning and happy Monday. All right, so now we have admin user ID, right? And let's go ahead and publish this. Cargo. No, it's not cargo. Hey, thank you for the follow. Hector HSC. Good morning. Let's take a look at how big that is. I want to see. Um, in package. Okay, it didn't actually make it that much bigger to use the formatting. I get kind of concerned about that because you see that in the WASM documentation. If you're trying to keep your file size small, then avoid the string formatting stuff. But seems okay. Um, and now we can go to, say here, admin users. Right. We can go to 404, which is just some page that's not found. If we come back here, see here we're just, like if we don't match, return 404. What if we go to slash admin users, foo bar baz, Uh, that didn't work. Maybe we should have run that locally. But it still says page not found. It didn't give us an error. Admin users. All right, well, that's supposed to work. Looks like we got a little bit to do. Oh, the arguments as stir stable. Huh. And what's that do? What's arguments as stir do? Let's go back into the test. So we've got this test file, which is supposed to match certain things. Match get. Let's do another one. Match get with arg. I want to match this to bar baz AOU. We should be able to get the response. Actually, I'm going to I want to look at the body at this point here because this test isn't quite right. In this case, we're skipping one, making sure the second one matches. Basically, let's use format args in a lot more places now. Oh, interesting. Okay. Hmm. Fubasbar rather than. Does that make a difference? I don't think so. I think if we go back to lib here, admin users user ID. So it should have matched that section there and passed it in. At least it compiled. The macros are working. So that stuff was at least matched up. Let's pop back into the test. We're going to improve this test. So we get the sum, we get the OK. Let's get the body. Let body equal that. I think we can get body at that point, can't we? Because this returns what type? Body unknown. Sum OK. We should have a response. HTTP response has body. Yeah, it's a. That's not it. The body is equals floor. Let's check the docs real quick. Response. Ah, no, my docs are gone. One of the best things about Rust here. Argo doc. Create new docs. We'll let the docs out. All right. So those should wrap up there. But this body should. Oh, here we go. I don't know if. Oh, it is in there. Okay, so request response. I see. So we could just get the body. Let's just do it into body. Then we should have that string. And then I can assert equals. that the body was hello world. Hola. Hello world and body. Okay. Now this one should be the value. Why don't we just say the body is equal to the parameter that was passed in? So owned on that. Into body again. You know what? Bump that up a little bit. And what is the value going to be here? It's going to be AOU and body. Okay. Cargo test. Wrong level. Let's come back up one. There we go. Oh, look at that. Okay. I'm storing the wrong part. So now we're actually going to step into this macro. Right? And the macro is going to have a couple parts. It's going to have the args, which would represent everything within the square brackets. Then it's going to have the input at the token stream, which represents the function itself. What is the object in oriented way to become healthy? I know this with wealthy. For wealthy, it's inheritance. But healthy, you've got me. Oh, okay. Oh, we see a lot of them. Well, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. So let's step into this here. I'm going to go into route, and this is the entry point. Actually, it's not quite the entry point. Let's step back a little bit into the entry point. So in CodeGen, this here is directly inspired by Rocket, where we're using a proc macro. One thing that we're doing different is we are not using the HTTP crate for this. It does make things bigger. So for each one of these, we create a new proc macro, given the verb, or the verb's on the left side here. So that's how we can use the get in here. Where is it? Too far. Here. All right, that's that token there. Now, if I come back into the code gen, I can also see that we're calling this other function here. Well, it takes the args and the input, right? And as I described before, the args, that's the actual everything within those square brackets. And the input stream here, the token stream, is the function. It's all the tokens that represent the function. Let's step into this, back into route. Same thing, args and token stream, args and input. We are using nightly for this, for the diagnostic stuff. I think we're going to undo that eventually, but not yet. I was looking, and they someday that looks like it'll be available. They're slowly making progress on it. When we come through here, we do some sanity checks, right? You can only use this on a function. We used to have another one in here. Oh, member function's not supported, so the receiver type has to be a certain kind of value because we parse the parameter. And then what else do we do? I know we're going a little too fast. I'm trying to skip ahead here. Well, here's where we generate the function. You can see this is our wrapper function. We've got a name for it. Got some segments that we end up trying to match against. Router calls this the router's closure. And then we have the request object. And we just want to be, we don't want to look too closely into that type. We want to be able to just pass that through. So in case people are using HTTP's crate, that'll work. If they're using Cloudflare, it'll work for us. Is it basically Cloudflare's key value store? No, there are some important differences. Um, it feels a bit more like an actor framework built across Cloudflare's edge network, right? So you end up having a durable object, um, a WASM script, right? A class instance that will live across their network, one instance per durable object. So if you have somebody in Florida making a request to a durable object, and that durable object actually lives over on the East Coast or on the West Coast, that's got to make a round trip. So you have to be careful about how you set it up because you could introduce latency just by using these. Yeah, soon it'll just work. Nero, good morning. How you doing? All right. And in this case, we try to match the arguments. Okay. So we have this little segment structure here. We have whether or not it's literal or it's an argument. And as we um, inspect, what is this here? Oh, that's right. We pre-generate an array and fill it in with segments. Okay. Because we've parsed the URL structure at compile time. All right. Where is it? Let's come back here to the code. We end up parsing this URL. And each of these are literals, right? You have this literal section, this literal here. But if you come down here, this one is an argument. This one is not literal. You did some box drawing with it? Array iters and alias. You've been using it everywhere, yeah? Oh, I see. Oh, that is nice. I like that alias. Hmm, that is nice. So here we have literals and then non-literals, which are back here. What do we call them? Arguments and literals. So we create an array out of those, and then we match those against the path that is passed in, right? Against these segments. And these route segments, we have to have the same number of segments as that are being passed in, and that we matched at compile time. So if those don't match, we'll return none. If the method doesn't match, we'll return none. But eventually, we start to loop through these and make sure that each literal matches up exactly. And then if it's an argument, we save that. You can see here that we did choose poorly. So this argument shouldn't be seg underscore arg. This should be route segment. And so that should fix that one. Hey, JT. How did the programmer die in the shower? I don't know. How? He read the shampoo bottle instructions. Lather, rinse, repeat. Never made it out. I figure he would have run out of shampoo eventually. He must have had one of those, like, industrial size containers. All right, so that should fix that. Let's run the test again. Perfect. Okay, so that passes. Iterator cycle is the most Rust-like iterator that repeat. Yes. Why did the developer go broke? I don't know why. He used all his cash. That one's good. I don't think we have that one. Do I have? Do I have OneNote? Where's OneNote? Okay, it's on that screen. Um. All right. I'm gonna grab this and store it for later. We actually capture these, and eventually I'm gonna be reading a bunch of them and making them into part of the um, channel rewards. So this one is going to be credited to you. There we go. Well, we got that fixed. Um, that was a good little test. But why didn't why didn't this actually work? Wrangler dev. Let's run it locally. Yeah, that does upload it. Looks like we might have one here already. So I was practicing, I was testing some stuff there. Okay. Because we didn't add it to the router. Say we have get admin user, but it's not added here. Ta-da! All better. Okay. So that'll compile, right? It just sits there, watches it, recompiles. Now if we do that, yes, now we get this page is for user AOU. Oh, fine. Because of the slash, isn't it? Okay. So it was escaped. Well, that's nice. They escape it for us. What are we working on? Today we're working on actually we got off topic real quick. Because I wanted that little thing to work here. But we're working on durable objects. And I did some reading. Um and in fact, their platform, we were looking at security the other day, or we were talking about, well, what were they running? And it looks like they are using V8 to implement this. And they have this cool architectural overview. They're using Captain Proto, all sorts of cool stuff. Direct posting, that's a URL. So they're escaping the URLs. Um, but I would like to try to set up a durable object. And it looks like you end up creating a class, and that class gets instantiated and represents a durable object, and that you have to interact with that durable object. It will be the only durable object for a given storage endpoint across their network. So let's say you have a durable object for um, what's a good kind of web thing that we can talk about here? Maybe a forum. Okay, we might build a forum with this. How would we use a durable object with a forum? you might have something that represents, the list, the first page you get to. And you have to ask that, well, what forum elements do I need to return? Or I've created a new thread, right? And then that object would get those requests. It would say, this is your list of threads. Or thank you for creating a new thread. I'm going to add it to the list, and here is your list of threads for the homepage. So it does create a bit of a choke point. So I think you have to be careful about how much work you're having the durable object do. I think it's also going to create some latency. So it's probably very, very important to have it very light. But I think for most of the stuff that I'm going to be doing, um, we're not really targeting something for super high scalability websites. We're targeting cheap websites, right? Something that somebody can set up. It's going to be like a WordPress thing, somebody's little blog, etc. And then we'll figure out how to scale it, how to get it past each kind of order of magnitude as we go. Now, their KV store is very nice, but there's a 60-second delay. So if you're in the Americas and you update, some keys value, it's going to take 60 seconds to propagate around the globe. You also have to be careful about squashing other changes with this because there isn't any sort of synchronization. Um, so coming back to durable objects, there are 3 steps to creating and using a durable object. Writing the class that defines the durable object. That's the first one. Instantiating and communicating with a durable object from another worker via the fetch API. So we've got a worker. Right? We can start to interact with these elements. 60 seconds around the world is so insane, though. That's been done for 20 years. Um, yeah. Like Yahoo's address book could do that 15 plus years ago. Um, then uploading the durable object and worker. Oh, you don't mean for CF specifically, just the concept of propagating around the globe that fast? Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's insanely cool. All right. Using durable objects, we write the class. So first we need to do that. Before you can create and access durable objects, you must define their behavior by exporting an ordinary JavaScript class. Oh, ours won't be ordinary. Other languages will need a shim that translates their class definition to a JavaScript class. Looks like we're going to be creating a shim. Networks are kind of fast. They are. They are. Now, why would we need a shim? Can we just export this? I think the WASM bits will create this for us. 10 years ago, a round trip from California to the Netherlands was sub 120 milliseconds. Yeah. Then you tend not to have the same sort of elements on your homepage in the different regions. Yeah. So let's create our durable object example. We interact with state, with the storage via the state value here. And the environment, that's where we can get some of our keys, etc. All right, so let's create one of these. And we need our little shim. Do they talk about the shim a little further down? I don't see it. Shim. Okay. Yeah, it just needs to be translated to a JavaScript class, which is fine. All right. So we create the object, and then how do we configure your memory state? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Keep going, keep going. We're skipping a lot of this. There's our example. I don't want to see that. I want to see this. Okay, configuring durable object bindings. So in the wrangler.toml file, we have to configure this. So example class is equal to that. And you'll see that in their example class up above, they call it like a dot instantiate or something like that on this. Oh, get. Here we go. Example class. They're getting the ID, or they're getting the stub. All right, so let's first configure something. And if we were going to make this something useful, what would we call it? So thinking about website elements. Okay. Oops. Let's clean this up a bit. Oh, I see. That didn't go very well. That goes over there. This comes down here. This is there. Something like that. Emoji counter? Try to keep each server-side rendering element in a different AZ because your web scale. I love the whole web scale thing. But is it web scale? Emoji counter. All right. Is dev null web scale? No. I don't know. Let's just, we're going to see if we can just get it to compile first. There's their example class. Don't have to do that. That's how we interact with it. So here they're doing a counter. Could try to just mimic the counter. That would be a fun little test. Let's do counter. Go into the emoji counter. Here we go. Class name. The emoji counter. Now we need some place to be able to export that. This is going to be in mimeograph source emoji counter.rs. Now we go into mimeograph lib. We need to make sure we have that mod emoji counter. Okay. Now we go into, what's our emoji counter? Oh, did we not save it? Oh, it's not saved. Okay. Now inside of here, we will have a pub struct emoji counter. WASM bind gen. So do we put it on there or do we put it somewhere else? Ooh, that's nice. So you just wrap it real quick, extract it, done. Oh, that's nice. Yes. Hold on a sec. Makes refactoring even faster. I can imagine. That's really cool. I like that. Yeah, that was my kid's finger. Dimple emoji counter. All right. Now, for this, we need state and environment. I wonder what state's going to be. You just put everything in lib.and then wrap as portions, then plop them out of the file. That sounds really, really cool. I'll have to remember that. So I've watched you code, and you basically start using one file, and then pieces get pulled out, right? Just you're so quick, actually, very quick at this. Um, function new, and in this case, we're going to take state and then environment. CF state. Maybe we should call this durable object state. I don't know. That's a terrible name. And then env. You're in a bunny mode today. Easier to not deal with imports or visibility when you're being doing rapid application development. Huh? Let's see. Use create CF. All right. Now we didn't define these yet. We'll have to do that in the Cloudflare section. Self, state, and env. Oh, I forgot to type on that. The name. Okay. Let's go ahead and build those out in CF. Extern C. And what is it actually called in Cloudflare's API? Type. Durable object state. Terrible name. We're gonna do a constructor. Actually, we don't ever see a constructor, but we do have getters, right? Because we're gonna have state.id and state.storage. You can see that on this here, these two elements. All right, and that needs to return a durable object ID. Pub function ID. Durable object ID. Just so we have the type there. I like having each one in their own little list, their own little block there. It makes it kind of clean. All right, and this is going to be storage. So this is a getter. And we need another one for storage. Pub function storage. All right, we don't have to provide much information on them at the moment, only when we go to use them. Okay, so we have the ID, we've got the storage. What else? And durable object ID, we can call toString on that. Let's create one of those. That's just going to be a method though. It's not a getter. Function to string. Actually, to string like so. Dribble object ID. Returns a string because they don't do stirs around here. And we want the JS name to be to string. There we go. So we're mapping our Rust style name to that name. Good. Now in the storage API, I clicked on that. Where's it taking? Transactional storage API? So I click on this and it takes me to the wrong place. Oh, okay, just not far enough down. All right, and then there's all of these here. We'll create those when we need them. Not doing those yet. And we could do like a get and a put. Return promises, interesting. Key value, we got any here. This is going to be interesting because we'll have to create multiple functions to map to a single JavaScript function. So we'll have multiple Rust functions mapping to those. Which is a rough, let's see. You could do JS string instead. Oh, interesting. Which is a ref counted string from the JS context. Huh. This one here? Yes. Now, why would we do that? But it's UTF-16 and definitely not convenient Rust string. Yeah. I mean, we would only use this when building up a response. So it's unlikely that we would do anything with it other than probably toss it into some sort of transform like the HTML rewriter, or we would probably interact with KV. So this would likely be a KV key. So it's probably okay that it's UTF-16. Well, that it's a ref counted string from the JS context. I wonder, what sort of overhead is there converting between JS strings and Rust strings? Well, what I'm thinking about is the router at the moment. And so, hey, thank you for the follow. ZGRMRTS. Thank you. So, out of curiosity, if we went back into the router code for fun, right? In the router, we end up breaking apart the string, and it's actually not there. Where is it? It's in this file. It's at the end of this, where we get the path. We end up getting the string from the URL. It's not going to benefit us to keep this as a JS string and use the JS string functions, is it? Oh, WTF8 is the internal string encoding Rust uses. I didn't know that. Okay. I thought it was just UTF-8. What's the difference? If, Wobbly transfer format. I like the WTF. That's fun. Why not URL position unwrap plus two? Oh, for here? Actually, I hadn't considered that. But you're right. That's very straightforward. Yeah, let's fix that up. We should have this guaranteed, right? It's coming from Cloudflare. So all of their strings that are passed in, I trust. Oh, it doesn't have it yet. Oh. Yeah, I'm using, we still got this thing going here. Um, so it doesn't, I think I missed something here. Oh, with the find. Yeah. So we'd have to do stir char's position, but then we're looking for two elements, right? Oh, I see. Rust has to run on systems that aren't UTF-8 with a WTF encoding. Oh, huh. Such as WASM or Windows. Gotcha. Oh, that's interesting. And so, would it be faster if URL here? What is this? This is a mimeograph. Let's see. That's this request here. If this returned a string, a JS string, just some insider knowledge there. Yeah. So if this was a JS string, right? Let's look at the JS strings docs on this. Should be in here. Do they have a faster way to take it to UTF-8? As oh, this is interesting. Okay. Uh, the string is just a vector UWeights. All of its safe methods assume and validate UTF-8, but eventually it does have to go to some C, right? Because of the WASM interface. And I'm wondering if we can skip some of the validation because the strings that come from Cloudflare should already be sanitized. Send them via random bytes if you don't care about validation. Hmm. Because if we did JS here, just trying to get I don't know, I feel like I'm working on a sports car and we're trying to lose some weight on it, right? Like, oh, this metal washer here, let's go with Teflon on this one. You're not mutating, then just give it back. Yeah. Okay. What else do they have in here? From JS. Try from to string. That's a JS string. Okay. Substir, yada yada. Because yeah, we could just do a find, right? This is just the regular JS string. We will have to convert them to. Actually, can I create one of these at? Build time? JS string is probably the next step in being efficient. Because if the router does all of this stuff behind the scenes, right, and does um, splits this up into JS strings, that would be fine for. It'd actually be better for WASM, but less efficient for if somebody was doing this outside of WASM stuff. Because I would also like the router to be useful. And let's say you're just doing stuff. You didn't want to use Rocket. You wanted to have something that was small and tiny, right? You could use this. So in that case, we probably couldn't do it. I mean, this code here could be in it, but then eventually we will have the parts, right? This subsection here. This would still need to be converted into a string. We could convert less of it into a string. That that would work. Actually, a string unchecked from JS. Oh, I see. So it's already unchecked, right? Because the V8 or whatever you're in should have already sanitized it. That makes sense. But if we did want, we could simplify this, convert less of it, use the JS functions from here to here, and then convert it at this point. But consider using the JS functions on a JS string so that fewer. I don't know. It does seem like we do need it to be in a Rust string at this point. All right. We'll leave that as it is for a moment. And let's get back um, to the emoji counter. So we've got our env we need to create. With FFI as JS strings. Yeah. And that makes sense. I mean, it's a tiny bit of conversion. So where were we here? Oh, we need the env bits. Okay, we're going to ignore the KV stuff for a minute. Transactional storage stuff we're going to ignore. We need env. And what is this? What type is this? Contains environment bindings configured for the worker script, such as KV namespaces, secrets, and other durable object namespaces. Note that in traditional workers, not using model syntax, these same bindings appear as global variables. So is this plain old JavaScript object? Uh, env. Let's search for it. Where are they using it? A bag of KVS? Yeah. That's unfortunate. Let's see. Is there a JS object? We can get the keys. Can we get the values? Returns an array of strings. What does it return? Constructor entries from entries. Does it have as ref? Wow, you can from map. Okay. I don't see index, which makes sense because they don't know what type it is. But how do we get the values? Maybe we could just use entries. Does entries, where to go? From entries, entries here. Oh, value of? No. There's no get. For a symbol description, yada yada. No, no, no. What is a sign here? A sign? Oh, it's that a sign. Yep. Yeah, we know that. So it looks like values. Like we get this thing, we just copy these into some local map. So maybe this here should be more of a hash map of string. String to string. Mark Wilds, thank you for the follow. And at this point, we go through, iterate over the env values. We get an array. I miss my intos, my iterators. So very quick. Um, iter. Oh, they have an iterator, arrayator. Turns an iterator over the values of a JS array. Okay. And I don't know what the item type is a JS value. No. So we do as string. I believe it's going to be a string because it's environment variables, right? Iter dot map. And now this is going to be not just any array, right? It's going to be an array of tuples, right? Because we have this. Oh, no, no, this is just values. I want entries. My mistake. I want entries. Okay, entries. In the same order that they are provided in the for in loop. Okay. Now, are they going to give us tuples, or is it an array of tuples or an array of arrays? That I don't know. Hmm. I suspect it's going to be an array of arrays. Yeah. Oh, get. There it is. All right. Entry. collect that into a hash map. But to do so, we need to convert this into tuples, right? Yeah. And I want to convert them to strings in here as well. So key, yeah. Is that should return a JS value, which we can then call as string on. Returns an option to a string. I mm, let's see. And then if, as long as I just keep these to the basics, key value strings here, then we should have a consistent type. So most of these, I imagine, we're going to be sending right back to them. I could see some places having the values be numbers. I don't really want to have like an enum that represents bools, floats, and strings, though. My JS value? Yeah. What does as string do? Okay, I got about 30 more minutes I can go today. Flat map those. No. Oh, interesting. Okay, as string. Yeah, so you're doing the tuple inside of the sum, right? With the throw on the the try on the get. Is get, that should have something there already. That's that there. And this would just be a JS type. Oh, we didn't declare that yet. CF. You know what? It's not quite that. It's just a this is a JS JS object. JS value. Oh, it's just called object, not JS object. Be true JS and pass everything around as JSON. Oh my goodness. Oh, does it want us to use object entries? Okay. Values there. Oh no, we want entries. Oh, thank you for the follow. Gorudan. How are you? Alright, so we get that. So fine. Take your borrow. Alright, now in this case, what's it say? JS value. Mm, Objects is the prototype. Interesting. JavaScript syntax, yeah. Um, this here, this type, because we get the iter on that. That returns an array. It's an array of arrays, but this here, this array says that its type is JS value. So we're passed in a JS value, which we suspect is another array. But how do we take that into an array at this point? Do we use array from? It's an iterator of JS values. Yeah, but the value at this point should be multiple elements, right? Because it's the key and the value. So we do from JS value. What's this return? Oops. Entry equals that. Okay, now we have an array. We get one, get two, fine. String JS value. There we go. It's just that easy. Convert, let's see, JS object. Let's say values are not converted. For two reasons. So that we can we likely don't have to do anything with them, right? We just take them out of the map and pass them to a function. It's likely what's going to happen. All right, so we've got the constructor of our emoji counter. All right, now we need to create something for the fetch. Let's go down to their counter. We'll just port that over. Oh, where'd it go? Durable objects. Stubs, yada yada. We'll get back up to that. I think I went way too far. Or it's not right here. Where is it? Is that like a link? Yeah, you can specify which region you want the handler to be in for GDPR reasons or other reasons. Fetch, delete all. Okay, there's our transaction bits. Huh. Is it on the next page? Oh, yes. Here we go. Counter example, initialize. So in this case, we could store it. And then do this. Missing array doesn't import index. Index me because U size is greater than what they can handle. Yes. That makes sense. Because it's U32 for JS array indices. Yeah. All right. So let's. It's interesting. How do they wire up initialize here? Is this just a known? Oh, I see. Yeah. Kind of lazy. If we don't have the initialize promise, create the initialize promise, await it. This should resolve immediately if it's already been resolved. And then you just run it. That's strange that you'd have to do this. Is there a different way we could do this? From the constructor, maybe? Why wouldn't they do this in the constructor? They could set up the initial value in the constructor. Ooh, yeah, they're making this little dirty JavaScript objects. All right. So let's come back to our little counter. Let's say value is view size. Okay, so now we have that. Let's create our async fetch hub async function fetch. And in this case, we get a request. This is a Cloudflare request. What do we return? Probably a Cloudflare response. I imagine we could return other types. Yeah, in this case, they're doing just the value. Now this should be on self. Overthinking it. It's generated from the IDLs. BindGen isn't smart enough to know what a collection is and how to implement index. Oh, I see. Oh, that's too bad. All right, I'm just going to grab some other code real quick. There's our little response. Building up responses and response options is interesting. The constructor takes, if we go back to CF, response here, takes a readable stream. And we could probably set this up so that we could provide it with a string or something else. A readable stream seems to be the most flexible element, and I haven't bothered to see if we can create multiple constructors from different kind of like what they were doing before. Oh, hold on. So we could potentially have multiple constructors. Um, so can we just do this? New with stir. Straight response ext. New string to string. Impl response ext for response. It has to be in the constructor though. I tried setting the body outside of the constructor and it didn't work. I'm not sure why. But I think that we could do this. Oh, cannot find JS string in scope. Fine. Back to string for you for now. Where were we? We're in response. New string, call the new constructor. I think. No, this is the wasm bind gen bits for this. So we don't have to. I think this ends up being just kind of sugar on the Rust side. So let's say we wanted to have this with some other type that they also support, like a new. Actually, I like new string, new empty, right? Pass in some like um, I don't know, unit something else. But oh, got another message. All right. So where are we going with this? I wanted to try the new string one on this. So let's go back into the emoji counter. Let's see if responds. There's string. And in this case, just going to do something simple like that for a moment. Now we need the options. Yeah, see, I don't really want to return a response like that. Hmm. Did I wrong side of that? Oh, server's on fire on the dashboard that controls the Halo system crashed. It's segfaulting now. Can you come in? Yeah, luckily we don't work in those industries, right? Well, this seems like it would work. Then we would just have to call it from the other place. Let's go into lib here and have one of these actually interact with the emoji system. So get emoji, just something simple. Function. And then we need the request, which we're going to ignore. Result a CF response. Okay. Now we need to get ahead of that. We could totally have an extension thread that has try into hash map for object. Oh, interesting. Or lossy into hash map. Yeah, non-string keys. That's a neat idea. I don't know how often it's going to be, but you're right. But that could be a neat way to reduce the overhead there. So now how do we get one of these things? So we get the example class from ID. Why is it on environment? Oh, this is one of these stubs. Ooh. I'm hoping that the WASM wrapper actually does a lot of that for us. Okay. Publish new class. Why do we have to do this? Oh, I see. So you have to associate the class with that. It's called a migration and is currently performed by providing an extra option. Okay. Huh. So you can delete the class, you can create a new one. And if you just create a new one, okay. After you've run new class for a given class name once, you do not need to include the migration on subsequent uploads of the worker. You just want Wrangler publish. Okay. Risk of data loss. Okay. So then let's try to just use it real quick. I don't really want to do this. Um, Hold on a sec. Nothing. All right. It is chilly in here today, and I didn't put on a sweater. I'm freezing. I am cold. So we get the stub. You must export a method named fetch in an export default block. Ew. I'm not sure about this one. how do we convert this? Do we just have a module that has an exported function? I mean, that's kind of what it looks like. But we're coming up on my expiration. It's so cold in here. I think I'm gonna go find something hot to drink before my first meeting and a sweater. So we're gonna pick up on this probably next time. And thank you for dropping in, Museum. It's glad to hang out. You ever been in one of these situations where, yeah, I've seen those. Not something that sounds so serious like having some Highland system go down. Halon. Um, we're gonna give it a raid. And let's see, who should we raid today? Are you gonna be streaming, Museum? Could raid you. That was my internet. So it was a little sluggish there. Error handling. Last time, let's see, who did we get last time? I think we went with Shalecodes last time. Let's go with Aisha. They're cool. They go through learning Rust stuff occasionally. So I'm gonna give them a raid. And I'm gonna go find something warm to drink and a sweater. Well, thank you all for hanging out. Thank you. It's always so weird staring into the glass there. So, all right, about ready for the raid. Till next time, y'all. Bye bye.